So,
Sure.
and we're back. Hi, everyone.
Hey, hey.
Back here with Spirit Talk Podcast with the infamous, world renowned, what else can I say? Professional, award winning astrologer Kathy Beal, who's doing the beautiful service of helping us to stay sane, I think, through astrology, right? It does, I have to say, it is keeping people sane that you come on. Because Kathy has an ability to calm us down and make us see, this is my perception, make us see that karma is real. Right? And there are a lot of things that are kind of, in a certain way, they're faded. I don't want to speak for you, but in a certain way, they're kind of faded, aren't they? In the charts.
Well, but also there's machinery that's in motion and we can't operate it. But just knowing that the
Right.
machinery's in, can you see this? Can you read this?
It's,
Oh, it's backwards. It says,
Dear Karma, I have a list of people you missed.
that was I was at a friend's for brunch on
it.
Sunday and I walked in. It was there and I was like, what a Scorpio thing.
Yeah, can you
Scorpio.
sweep up a few more? Yeah, well, I feel like karma is coming for certain people.
Well, and also just keep in mind, we don't know what it is they're doing or learning, and something might happen to them that we might not consider as, oh, darn, I really want to see, but that might not be what their path is. They might have something else happening to them, but it doesn't mean they're going to get away with it. And let's just premise all of this. He's in the forest of no return. The Iron Maiden is starting to snap shut.
Just guess what we're talking about.
Remember those two things and stop hyperventilating when you see the news. And just know that by July, horrible things will be happening. His definition of horrible things will be happening. And by August, he's in the mousetrap and it's got him. So there are lots of different analogies for you to pick the ones you want, use them all. I don't care.
All right. So,
this is the forest
obviously we're talking about the former guy. And it seems weird to call him that anymore because it was such a long time ago. So much has happened in 4 years.
And yet it's still just a freaking part of everything. I mean, honestly,
right.
Think of if you have a conversation with someone, it doesn't matter. You can just almost measure the amount of time it takes before, oops, it sneaks in. It doesn't matter who it is honestly, it doesn't matter who it is. It just shows up no matter what. And I want everyone to just stop for a moment and think two things. Thing one, what might you possibly have accomplished with your life if you had not been caught up 24/7 with this ongoing drama for years? And secondly, consider the possibility you signed up to be here for this.
That's an interesting question. Hello everyone. I just want to say hi. Thank you for being here. It's interesting that you should say that because I feel that I chose to be here at this time. We all have chosen that. And I feel that there are a lot of things that I'm not doing in my life by choice that would be what people would just do with their lives, right? Lots of things that women would be doing, men would be doing. But I purposefully put that all on hold. So even though I could look at it myself, I mean, I know I'm in a more unique position because I have the Psychic News Network. For myself, when I think about, have I wasted a lot of time following the news around the clock? No, because this is the work, right? This is the soul work. So for most people, though, is it a waste of time?
I didn't mean if I said wasted, I misspoke. It's not a waste. I want you, but think of in terms of what else you might have done with your life to kind of acknowledge to yourself the amount of energy and effort
Yeah.
This has been, and some of it's been building a massive community, a
Right. Okay. So
network.
yeah, I get what we're saying the same thing now. I wasn't
Yeah,
sure.
yeah, yeah. I'm not
So
saying waste. I'm not
right,
saying waste.
right. No, you didn't say that. I threw that in. Sorry. um, because there are a lot of times that I think, oh, is this just a waste of time? I'm not really not rolling in the dough, or like nothing really tangible is happening. And I think that it's really important for me to recognize there's something that I might not be able to touch with my hands, but there's something tangible that is happening. It's just energetic.
Mhm.
And that Pluto and Aquarius energy is part of this, right? Where we really get that we're all one collective. Case in point, that 3 days a week I write newsletters for our Grassroots of Democracy meetings, and those are now on Substack. So everyone go to Substack and subscribe to Grassroots of Democracy group. But case in point, I find again and again and again, I will write an essay, I'll write an article that is, I finish it up, I'll turn on a YouTube channel, and the person will be saying the exact same thing, like verbatim. And that tells me that we are all interconnected. That's evidence. I know that we are anyway, but the evidence keeps popping up. It happens with Midas Touch all the time. I'll
Mhm.
just finish a Psychic News Network, and then I'll turn them on, and they're saying almost verbatim the same exact thing. So it is important, I feel, that we all recognize we are each playing an important role. And the more we remind ourselves of that we're not just doing this on our own, the more chances for success. We are going to win. We are going
We
to win
are
our
winning.
strong democracy. Yes, we are winning.
We are winning. I'm just going to reframe that. We are winning.
And the president. And thank you, because I always catch myself and catch other people like, we are winning now.
Mhm.
So I know it's been extremely stressful, and we're all in the know about that. Can we take a look first? You can do whatever you want. I'm just wondering if we can take a look at the loser's chart to
Sure.
see
Okay. Hang on. Hang
how
on.
this gag order, and I think you said you didn't have the judge's chart, but that's okay.
No, there's no birth time for the judge. However, uh, I want to start by pointing out that this trial was initially supposed to start when the full moon in Libra was on Trump's Neptune, his planet of illusion, in his money house.
On the
And
eclipse.
yeah, the eclipse was then. And when the trial got postponed, I did point out, I think in our last live, this influence is not going away. It's still going to have an impact. And the impact was seeing how cash strapped he is. And now he's got this structure with Truth Social that has been done in a way so it's not the normal IPO. It's not a normal initial public offering, but it's been structured in a way that it's essentially entertainment purposes only, money laundering for people who want to get
Right.
campaign contributions to him.
Right.
So that's part of it. Now we've got the solar eclipse in Aries happening before the trial starts. I ran the trial date of April 15,
Yeah.
but this is what's going to set off. All right, so there's a preponderance of bodies in the sign of Aries at this solar eclipse. So that's the sun and the moon. Chiron is right there. Chiron is an ongoing wound. To me, it's gun violence. It's just violence. It's aggression. It's assertiveness. It's toxic masculinity. That's part of it too. And the reset button is being hit. And on top of that, we've got Mercury retrograde. So going backwards, also in Aries, very hot-headed, a lot of stuff, a lot of revelations, a lot of things coming up having to do with aggressive or almost like warlike or male-oriented communications, which fits what this is about. And it is conjunct which means it's right next to a dwarf planet, an asteroid called Eris, Eris, known as the goddess of discord. So there's like women shit stirring as a part of this, and the two big claims involve two women that got paid off, and Venus at the very beginning of Aries, which has to do with women and fighting and all this. So we've got this huge pile up of all this energy in Aries, and then Mars, which rules Aries, Mars, the masculine planet, is conjunct Saturn, the law, constraint, in Pisces. So there is a bit of a governor or a break on whatever is going to blow out from all of this. But
what do you mean a governor?
Like, like a device that controls what happens, that kind of thing.
So the solar eclipse is at 2:11 p.m. in Aries, 19 Aries.
On the 8th, with all this other stuff in Aries that I just mentioned.
How many planets are in Aries?
It's like 7 placements. Not just because there are 2 asteroids that are involved. So we've got 2 asteroids. Also, the north node of the moon is there too. So that's like the path that we're headed toward. So the giant new operating system coming in all of this. And we've got, this is all happening in Trump's house of other people's money. Which is the whole payoff business.
Is it unusual for that many planets to be in one sign like that? It's unusual?
Yes.
How unusual is it?
I can't quantify it, but just know this is like, and we really mean it, with a Sharpie.
Okay. So
underlined 5 times. And this is in Trump's 8th house of other people's resources, but it's also one of the 2 criminality houses.
What's a criminality house?
A house that might be associated with criming.
Is that 12th?
It's all this stuff's in his 8th house.
Okay. Well,
all right.
The 8th house has to do with
other people's money.
Other people's money. Does it have to do with anything else, or just? Is that
lots of other stuff. Betrayal, nefarious conduct. It's also like business ventures, deals, money deals. This is a money deal.
Right.
Catch and release is a money deal.
And when you said this is like a channel, there's an avenue for money laundering. That's what's happening currently, right?
Yes.
Yeah, because there wasn't a time when I was doing pulling cards on it. There was not a time where I said he wasn't going to get the money. I always saw him getting the money that he needed, and I always saw it was definitely from nefarious sources, and it feels like overseas. Does that check out?
I would not argue with any of that.
Okay, but isn't there another house that has to do with foreign enemies?
Yeah, well, foreign stuff is the 9th house.
Okay.
But this is just learning. But like investments and stock and stuff, and so this is also. But so all of this is part of it. But if you kind of scooch it over into looking at what's going to happen with the New York prosecution, it's fascinating to me that the moon, while they're starting to pick the jury, and I do believe it's going to go on April 15th. All right. I think he's trying to, back up. I think he's trying to taunt the judge into doing something that will delay this trial. Like,
what do you think? What do you think as your lawyer? What do you think? Because I see it going forward on the 15th, but
so do I. But I think he's trying to taunt the judge into doing something that he'll try to get an interlocutory appeal on. He's going to try to get the judge to recuse himself again on the same grounds that didn't work a year ago. Right. A year ago, he tried to get that thrown out. And who knows, he's probably going to try to escalate it to the point that the judge is going to have to seriously consider. I mean, anybody else would already have their ass in jail at this point.
It's so infuriating. Oh my. I pulled cards last night, and people are I'm like, what are the American people feeling? It's like the jail card.
I saw that.
The hoarding is like.
But, I think the judge is playing a longer game, and I think it's more important to him to get this trial going than to throw this guy, because it will just detract from everything if he throws him in jail for contempt. Oh, okay. So here's what's important. astrologically about April 15. As they're convening to start picking the jury, the moon, which represents the public, is right on top of, it'll be in Cancer, and it'll be right on top of Trump's signature for his way he does business. He has Saturn, actually Venus and Saturn in the 11th house, which is the Trump organization, in Cancer, really close together. And the moon is going to be right there, illuminating and bringing to the public's attention what he has done with money and women. It's beautiful.
I'm sure whatever he's done with money and women is not beautiful. But
I mean, the correlation,
the karma
is just beautiful. Also, Mars and Saturn will still be pretty close. I'm sorry. Yeah, Mars and Saturn will be pretty close to conjunct. This is a 1 foot on the brake, 1 foot on the accelerator vibe. When Mars, which is I'm going to push your teeth in, and Saturn going, be an adult. If they're in one place, it's a real. It can be start, stop, or it can be controlled use of force, and it's in the house of his open enemies, and it's slamming against his Uranus, which is his disruptor planet. So know that there's going to be greater and greater and greater insane outbursts out of him, but Mars and Saturn really do have the upper hand here.
Is that what's different? Because what you're describing, that push-pull energy, feels like where we've been for the past 4 years. Where it's
that's yeah. But this is what is this very specific influence that's in place during the solar eclipse, and is how it is hitting him as we move into the trial starting. There's a real strong sense of time's up.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I'm looking for. Is like, okay, so we've been going back and forth for all this time, but this time it's going to go somewhere. Sounds like.
Oh, I think so. Hold on. I've got Alvin Bragg's chart with all of this as.
And also, I'm looking at April 15th. It looks like a very busy day astrologically, according to my calendar here.
Well, here we go. I've got the chart just for April 15th. There will be 1, 2, 3, 4. There'll be 5 placements in Aries. So, here's what's interesting. Chiron and Mercury. Chiron, again, wounded healer. The abiding wound about aggression and masculinity and grab them by the you-know-what will be conjunct Mercury. So this is going to be very noisy, very public. A lot of people who are really, really angry, speaking up, speaking out. But Venus in Aries is moving into the North Node. Now, let me translate that. Venus is what we value, and it's what the social mode is like. And when Venus, typically, Venus is, this is what I want, Mars, you go get it. Except their roles are kind of reversed. And Venus is in, you don't have to do this for me. I'm going to go take care of it. This is Wonder Woman, fighter pilot, woman fire. So this is like women on fire going out of my way. Your turn, buddy boy. Or not even calling him buddy boy. So, just so there's something that's very karmic about the role of women standing up for themselves. And can we just point out what all the dominoes that we've seen lately of women being the ones making things happen?
Yeah, it's the time of the women. Absolutely.
But especially with this particular litigant.
Yeah, right. That's really true. And
so he's like the poster child for a much, 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 and I do mean child, for a much, much, much bigger societal problem. And that's huge. And there's a lot going on with it. And the sun and the moon on that day is in a kind of agitating relationship with all of this, but it's also in a really easing relationship for the other really big event coming, which happens on April 20th. And we've talked about this. You'll see it if you float around any kind of astrological stuff. You'll see all kinds of stuff about this. The other big event of the year is also in April, and it is about Jupiter, which expands everything it touches, meeting up with Uranus, which blows up everything it touches, in the sign of Taurus, which has to do with money and women, and among many, many, many other things. This conjunction is exact on April 20th. So as the trial gets going, and it's entirely possible that there could be a jury seated by April 20th. I mean, unless they drag this out for weeks, but I think they're chomping at the bit to be on this jury.
Oh yeah, I think you're right about that. And isn't it interesting how misogynistic he is, and how many women he abuses on a regular basis? And the theme for today is karma. It sounds like the karma is on its way.
Let's say it's here. He's in a situation he can't get out of. And fascinatingly, the judge is South American born, much like Aileen Cannon is South American born.
Well, she was born in South America?
I think she's Colombian, isn't she?
I don't know.
But anyway.
Huh.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
So, when we got somebody who's so horrible about immigration, so that's probably an added factor in all of this.
So, and we have looked at her chart. I didn't ask you about that today. For today, I like to give you a little bit of a heads up. But what I'm really curious about Trump and foreign money. Have you already kind of gone over how that could boomerang back?
Well, okay. Hang on. I've got Alvin Bragg here too. Just a second. Let me find Trump.
Because it's like, I mean, I really do feel like he's getting money from our enemies, and that's what I feel. That's my psychic impression. And I want to know if you see that that's going to be found out, or if you kind of intuit that will be. How can we not know? I mean.
Well, I think we do know. And I think, remember I said the Iron Maiden closes at the end of August?
Yeah.
That's what it'll be.
But we had a big discussion about this at Grassroots Democracy the other night. And we're trying to figure out, well, somebody must be able to track where the money comes from to pay the bonds and everything. And then we couldn't figure out who would be.
Well, the way he has set this up, it might be he might have pulled it off in a way that's outside the purview of the monitor.
Yeah. Well, money laundering, would be.
Well, I mean, at any rate, there are many, many, many little streams and issues here. But for the bigger question of when are his foreign financial ties really going to come to light? Just remember August 25th, something huge where the trap gets him, August 25th. And I will not be surprised if Jack Smith doesn't have another round of charges that have to do with money, that have to do with exchanges for information that he wasn't supposed to have. I mean, people go, oh, what are they working on? I don't see it. Like, we just don't see it, but it doesn't mean it's not happening.
I get that sense really strongly, just like I get the sense that Joe Biden and his whole administration, they're doing so many things that we just never even know about because, we would probably interfere. So, as far as Jack Smith and the DOJ, we had talked about Merrick Garland in the past, and you said, I think in April something was really strongly highlighted.
Yes, that Jupiter-Uranus conjunction that I mentioned is exactly opposite his sun. And April solar eclipse is closely opposite his Saturn Neptune conjunction. Now, let me explain. Let me turn this into something that's going to make sense.
Mm-hmm.
He has Saturn in Libra. That's his commitment to the courts. And with Neptune there, there's an idealism. This is a religion for him.
Mm-hmm.
And when this eclipse happens, I think very soon a lot of stuff is going to come to light that he's been doing that we don't know. So I think April is going to reveal a lot of stuff that he has actually been up to. And then when that Jupiter-Uranus conjunction hits again, more stuff that's going to pull him out of the shadows. So much like Biden, the really important stuff that Garland does is behind the scenes. And people scream and say, oh, he's been so horrible. Oh,
I know.
I firmly believe that there was a gigantic mushroom field of Trumpers that had to be dealt with in the DOJ before he could move forward.
I kept getting death threats. People would just be so angry, and it's like, oh, what is he doing? And so do you think it's going to be where we'll look at what Merrick Garland, when it becomes revealed, we'll kind of step back and go, oh, sorry.
Well, some people maybe, but I think this is getting to him, and I will not be surprised if the year ends with him saying, I'm going to spend time with my family.
Do you think it's getting distressed, you mean?
But with what's happening astrologically around Christmas Eve, it would be completely consistent with him saying, I'm going to retire. I mean, like retire, not just leave the position, but stop working.
Yeah, I'm sure. Merrick Garland, he needs his life back. I hope he gets his life back when this is. Well, if it's December when you can see that happening, maybe things will be wrapping up a little bit anyhow.
I think things will be in a much different position.
Well,
by then. And also, I mean, we're going to learn so much between now and the end of the month.
Of this month. Mm-hmm. Interesting.
Oh, yeah. Terrific amount.
All right. So Merrick Garland, there was a time that people were asking me a while back, do you think Merrick Garland, after he's done with this, is going to be on the Supreme Court? I'm like, God, no.
No, I think he's going to retire.
He wants a break.
May I point out to people that he prosecuted Timothy McVeigh in the Oklahoma City federal building bombing, and we're coming up on the anniversary of that, which is right around when
the 20th.
The 19th. It was on the 19th because I had a first date that night.
I remember the 19th. It's a good friend of mine's birthday, and it's just like, that's why I asked you about that the last time. It's like, what is going on with April 19th? And yeah, that's the same time that you said Merrick Garland kind of peaks out there, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh no, he just comes out like, hello, folks. And you know how he periodically will just make there'll just be this press conference and you'll go, what is this suddenly about?
I know, all of a sudden he's just like, there he is. Is he a Libra or a Scorpio?
He's a Scorpio.
Okay. Does he have Libra rising? Or you mentioned Saturn in Libra?
Well, we don't have a birth time for him.
Oh, okay.
So with a solar chart with Scorpio on the first house, his Neptune and his Saturn Neptune conjunction with the law is my religion. I have very strong ideals about what this should all be. Would be in his 12th house, meaning he works behind the scenes.
Right, as does Joe Biden, right? Didn't he have something similar?
Almost all of Biden's chart is in the 12th house.
Oh, I didn't realize it was almost all of it.
Yes, tons. He has a ton in the 12th house. Not only is he a Scorpio, but he has a packed 12th house.
And so. I feel like it's better that way. I feel like he's most effective because he can just get the work done, kind of behind the scenes.
Oddly, we've had a lot of presidents with 12th house sons. So
good. Were they mostly good?
Oh, well, everyone has their opinions, but it's not uncommon. Okay. It's not uncommon.
Did Nixon have a loaded 12th house?
Oh, let's see. No, I don't think so. But W does.
George W.
Hmm.
Oh yeah, I could see that. Did you ever look at Dick Cheney's chart?
No.
Just out of curiosity, we're not going there, but
No.
we did look at Liz Cheney's chart in the past.
Right.
Yeah, well, someday maybe we'll do a show on past presidents and commonalities. There was a time that people were saying that John F. Kennedy and Lincoln's like profiles, or it wasn't astrological, but they had so many similarities in their lives that they thought JFK was the reincarnation of Abraham Lincoln. Can you see that kind of thing in charts that they might?
Well, I can see if there are connections, but I have a friend who uses astrology to try to figure out past life stuff, but
okay.
That's not something I do.
Did you ever ask your friend if she could see if it was indicated that Trump is a Mussolini? Because I know you.
He doesn't think Trump is Mussolini. He has a different opinion than you do, but he does think he was a dictator. He thinks he was a third-tier South American dictator.
Tell your friend, if you ever talk to your friend, tell him to look at the signatures,
I know.
look at the body language, the old videos of Mussolini and the way he holds his face, and just this. It's so uncannily the same.
I'm not arguing. I'm just saying.
No, I was just wondering.
Who can prove it? So, okay, fine.
Right, I know.
I just know. I agree. Dictator. He's got a past as a dictator.
Yeah, he's got all, and I have said in the past, it seems like some of these people think they're still dictators. They still think they're in their past lifetime, and Trump is definitely one. And he's doing all the moves. Everyone. It's like it's pre-programmed that he knows what the dictator would do next.
Let's expand that conversation for just 1 second.
Uh-huh.
Up to now, but now he's got handlers who are doing the expanding for him, because do you not pick up disintegration
of him?
Yes.
Oh yeah, I've been saying
he's not going out. He's not actually going out in public. I mean, he's being grumpy daddy screaming in all caps on Truth Social.
Yeah.
But when you see him at a podium,
we've been talking about that for months.
Right.
Yeah. And not too long ago, maybe last week, I was describing this thing that somebody sent me. It was a t-shirt with this cartoon cat with looked like it just put his finger in a light socket and the hair's like all over the place. I was thinking of that because Trump's energy just looks like that to me. Like he just stuck his finger in a light socket and he's just like totally frazzled. And he hasn't really been doing his makeup and he doesn't look well and he doesn't seem well, obviously, to me and to all of us, I think. And tonight, doesn't he have a rally?
Supposedly, but...
Yeah, and the last rally that I even was texting you about, he was making absolutely no sense at all and he was just kind of falling apart on stage. So we've looked at that several times and you probably see astrologically that he's falling apart because we've looked at that too.
Yeah, and just to remind people, the ruler of his house of health is Uranus, which is this very erratic, disruptive, rogue energy. So he's always lived at this kind of peak, and now many things are starting to slam the ruler of his house of health. And next week and during the trial, that Mars-Saturn conjunction that I mentioned is going to be slamming his Uranus. And he could, fall apart in the trial. There's no telling. Oh, just another thing I just want to put in as an aside. Another little trick to just watch for to delay this trial will be one of his attorneys leaving. Because, oh my God, now I have to have time to prepare a new attorney. So just be prepared for.
But could that be an excuse? I mean, if one of his lawyers drops out? I mean,
well, if he fired his entire legal team, he'd be entitled to a delay. But I don't see him doing that. I just want to warn people that there are more shenanigans in the bag.
Nobody's surprised by that. Nobody here is surprised by that. Not in the least bit, right?
That he could try. Right.
And over the weekend, I don't know if there was something hitting him really hard astrologically, but man, he was off the rails.
I think he's kind of like permanently there now. I
Do you
don't see
think?
how you get back, especially not with what is coming, with what is hitting, and um,
And then
all of this emphasis on what's been going on with his money and his other people money and his investments and the stock and what's happening with Trump org and all those things. I don't care if the pause button has been put on the appeal in the New York fraud case, because he's not going to win that appeal, and it will happen as soon as it possibly can. It's all malarkey. That is true. Kathy uses a different word, but we'll just call it malarkey right now.
well, that's Joe Biden's word. But this weekend, he was really like crazy.
Anyway, it's not going back. And then as we have this happening, all right, all of this stress that he cannot get out of, pumping him up, and Mars and Saturn hitting that Uranus again and again and again, slamming the ruler of his health. He could short out. Something could happen on the way into the courthouse. You know how he makes those statements to the press outside the courtroom? Something could happen there. Something could happen actually in the courtroom. And it may look to some of us like, oh, he's faking this. He may not be faking it.
Well, last night, because I was curious, I started out PNN by asking about, does he really think he's God? Were you here for that?
I saw that one, yeah, that a part of it.
It's like, he does.
Well, how
I don't know. Or do you think that he's that crazy? That he really thinks that you're giving me that look like,
Well, who knows? I mean, I honestly don't know if there's much to. Maybe he does, maybe he doesn't. It doesn't make a difference in my life. At this point, he's just freaking out. But the other thing I want to just remind people about is by the middle of the summer, his empire completely collapses. Every bit of it, irreparably. It's more than Humpty Dumpty. It's like wrecking balls coming at it from every angle.
Wow.
So just sit back and go, wow, this is worse than I could have imagined.
Well, we can sit back and do that to some degree as long as he's not on the ballot.
Consider another possibility. Consider that he's on the ballot and he's absolutely incapacitated. What happens then?
Well, incapacitated is something I've seen for a very long time. In fact, we're into April now, but I thought in March his health would just take a nosedive. It's only April 2nd, but I really feel like
maybe his health has taken a nosedive.
You mean mental or physical?
Everything.
Aha.
How can okay, I get these weird images from films that end up meaning something. And so one that keeps coming to me is from Woody Allen's Sleeper.
All right.
And in that one, he's awakened in the future. He's been frozen, deep frozen, like bird's eye or something. And he's awakened, and somehow people think that he is a doctor and that he has the ability to well, anyway, he's taken in, and he finds out that every night at 5 o'clock, there's this broadcast of the leader, and you see him, and you see images of him, and he gives this message to everybody. And then the actual team of people running things take Woody Allen's resuscitated character into a private room and show him that really all that is left of the leader is this nose, that he was in an accident, and they're trying to regenerate him from it. I keep seeing this.
Oh my gosh.
This is what I keep seeing. Like
that's that's an impression, right? That's a psychic impression. Yeah, he's just very rickety. His energy is very rickety. Like anything will just push him over. I'll have to watch that movie. Is it from the 70s?
Oh, it's hysterical.
I'll have to watch that.
It's hysterical.
We have to take a break because I told Terry we were going to do a midway through commercial. Here we go. Everybody else does it. Now we're going to do it. But this is about us.
Hey guys, are you freaking out? I have something free for you. I just had an article published with an explanation of how this news cycle drives you crazy and things you can do to calm down. This is free. I encourage you to read it. It is free. It will calm you down.
And who wrote it?
I wrote it. It's at somebody else's Substack, but it's me.
Oh, I see. Because it said Alex.
I have a
okay.
Right. No. I was a guest contributor to someone else's Substack. All right. So I have a forecast for the month of April. Bookmark this. Then there's a forecast for this week for the solar eclipse. Notice the fieriness in the woman, and then a forecast for this week. Notice the matches catching fire, and those are all at my site, free. And I've got a talk about the eclipses. If you go to, there's a shop tab. There's a talk that explains what's going on with these eclipses and what happened the last time we had eclipses in this part. And then I take it through each of the signs.
When was the last time? 2017?
2004 to 2006.
Oh, okay.
And these are types of services that I offer. And that is my dead cat reading my astrology software, which she did all the time.
Who did what? Oh, your cat.
My now dead cat. And this is my, so if you prefer to listen to things, all of my stuff is cross-posted on my YouTube channel, where I also put my recordings of my radio show, which is every other week on Om Times Radio, about all kinds of stuff, mostly astrology, but it goes a little bit far afield sometimes.
Wow.
And I have a Patreon, and I have my Patreon. That's my backyard, by the way. Seriously, that's an actual photo I took.
I believe you.
At my Patreon, I have many levels, and going from first access to my forecasts to different levels of bonus content, giving you more and more explanations of what's going on and what to do with it. And the next to the top level is Ask Me Almost Anything. Once a month, people can just submit questions, and we sit.
Oh, that's cool.
We sit and talk, small group, very engaged.
So they can come to your Patreon, they can join, and they can come to your Patreon meeting, and they can ask you questions?
Yes, not about their charts, but about astrology. And we do a lot about people in the news.
Cool. We kind of do that at the psychic party that I have for my members. Thank you. All right. And thanks to Terry for doing all this work in the background there, our producer. Tonight we have 20 on Tuesdays, a guided meditation for a healed America. We do that every single Tuesday without fail. You receive a recording of the guided meditation afterwards. I am a person who's very aware that our thoughts create our reality to a huge degree. So I think that we're making change, important changes happen, and we're making this country continue to be protected. I really do. Sign up at grassrootsofdemocracy.com, and that's also Thursday night we have a discussion group. Saturday we have a get to work session. Please join us. We're friendly and we have fun. Psychic News Network every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday right here, live streaming. Join us. That's a party. We have a lot of fun. We go over the news and we tell dad jokes. There's the list of what you get when you become a member. You get an affirmation in your inbox every single day at all 3 levels, and the rest is right there. What else do we have? Church of Spirituality has a new, its own YouTube channel at Church of Spirituality on YouTube. At Church of Spirituality. I don't think you have to put it in the YouTube and all that. Just at Church of Spirituality on YouTube. And the website for that is churchofspirituality.online, where you can look at the church programs and see other videos. And what else we got? Grassroots of Democracy. I talked about that. Join us tonight. And we have a book club once a month, and we're reading Attack from Within, really excellent book by Barbara McQuaid. You need not have read the whole book to come to the book club. It's a great discussion. We need to be having more conversations, and this is a great opportunity to do that. Next one is the 20th. I'm out of breath. Please book a reading. Did we put that up? Yeah, we did. Did we? let's put the readings back up. Okay.
There you go. Book a reading with Annette. She's really good.
Yes, thank you. Kathy and I collectively have over 60 years of experience in the biz, so you're not going to get anything better than right here, if I may say so myself. Use us. That's what we're for. Okay. Meanwhile, back to Trump world. I think we covered all that. Right? Who else did I ask you about? Unless you had more about him. We're pretty sick of him at this point.
I'm fine with leaving it at
We
that.
want to know the karma's coming. We were talking about Kristen Welker.
Yeah. Boy.
Boy.
Between this year and early next year, she's in a vise. She's in crosshairs.
So on that note, I just want to say about her, because this is, and I'm asking you this because I know you probably do the same thing. There are certain people that you can watch them for maybe a minute, and then you're just like, I can't do this. Who's that famous quote? Who you are speaks so loudly, I cannot hear what you are saying. Was that Emerson? I have to look that up.
I don't know, but she does that for you.
She does that for me. Yeah, certain people do that for me. Who you can just feel the lying. And I'm not saying that she's lying so much as it's kind of, in a way, it's kind of like lying to. She's a fake. She's not being her authentic self in that position. There's something going on there. And she doesn't press hard she doesn't ask questions that need to be asked. Like the latest one I cited in my newsletter today.
She's got some commonalities with Trump.
Yeah, she seems to be on his side.
Well, and there are some reasons for that, all right?
Mm-hmm.
She's a Cancer sun, and her sun is very close to Venus. So she can be the soft, sweet, gooey. And it's on his Mercury. So she resonates with him, and her Mars, which is how her masculine side and how she pushes herself forward, is Electrostorm. Yes, we are talking about the woman on Meet the Press. Her Mars, how she puts herself forward, is exactly the same as Trump's. It's at exactly the same degree of Leo. So there is possibly something kind of self-aggrandizing could be part of this. Here's what's weird. Because we don't have a birth time for her, there are two parts of the chart that can't be determined. One is the ascendant, and the other is the moon, because the moon changes a whole lot. Well, at noon on the day she was born, which is July 1st, at noon, the moon changed signs. So it's either at the very end of Leo, which is real strong, look at me, look at me.
Oh, well, yeah.
And that would be conjunct her Mars. So she could be a diva with this, or it's at the very beginning of Virgo. Hear me out. This might be where it is, because the very beginning of Virgo would be incredibly uncomfortable with herself and very critical. And that might fuel the sense of, I got to be something, I got to put the facade up.
Yeah, it's the facade that makes me crazy. She's not.
Those drive me nuts too.
Yeah.
Well, here's why you should be glad you are not her. Right.
There's a couple other people that we feel that way about that we've talked about here.
She has a pressure going on astrologically that is like being drawn and quartered. It's being pulled in multiple directions and not being able to get out. And the factor that's doing this is Pluto in Aquarius. And it's in her house of open partners, supportive partners, but also open enemies. And she has a configuration in her chart natally that's really dynamic. It's something that forces you to do things and deal with things and push and push and push and push. It's called a T-square. And it's like a bow that is really firmly drawn, and it has to go in this one area. It's when there are two bodies that are opposite each other and one body that is exactly between them. And the pressure needs to go through the body that is exactly between. Well, in this case, Pluto is moving into the empty spot and just sitting there. And because it's a very slow moving planet, it is there until early next year. So the other things that are part of this configuration are her core wound. She has massive issues with her own appearance and fitting in and money. I don't know what her background is, but big, big, big self-worth issues.
Huh.
And that is squaring Saturn. Thank you, Annie.
Thank you, Annie.
So Pluto is exactly opposite her Saturn. So she's stuck in a situation with the ruling authority. There's big, big, big kowtowing to men stuff in this as well. And then at the other end of it is Uranus, which really aggravates and blows things up. So we've got the two cosmic change agents, Pluto, unavoidable change. This is resistance is futile. It's hovering in one place for a year and taking this configuration that is, I'm wounded and I don't feel good, and I'm going to just kind of be a disruptor and do stuff. I mean, I don't know if maybe she's done some things that are firsts in her family. That is possible. And all of this is either working with or going against whatever the established order is. So the push to go through and to fit in is now suspended with Pluto going, let's pull some things up.
She doesn't
stuff come up from the deep.
She doesn't seem very comfortable.
No.
You know, it's like, I'm surprised she still has that position as host of Meet the Press. I don't know if you've ever watched it, but I don't know.
I can't bring myself to watch that stuff.
Yeah.
She'll be in a vastly different place by December.
Yeah, so she'll probably get ousted. And going back to that you mentioned Merrick Garland, maybe he might decide to retire in December. Just to go back to that, that's after the election. So what are you surmising from what you're picking up there?
That a significant part of his work will be done and he'll feel safe handing it over to somebody else.
That kind of conveys a Biden win.
Oh.
Wouldn't you say?
Do not, people don't even
worry about it. I think what we worry about the most, Kathy, honestly, is violence.
Well, and that you should. I mean, I live among people that have weaponized Trump flags hanging off the backs of their trucks. I mean, huge ones, huge ass ones. No, and they're new, so they're like. And I have toyed with what I might do.
I know. I go up to New Hampshire, and it's like that. What do you mean weaponized flags? They have
because they're not just like normal size flags. They're 6 feet long, and they have them flying off the back of their Jeep, and
I know it's out of control. I know, but it was interesting when I went and talked to these people a few weeks ago. It's interesting because you kind of can get through if you just kind of talk to them like a normal human. I don't know. That was my experience, but
there are ways in which we are different. I know.
Yeah. Well, no, I understand. It's a cult. It's irrational. But it looks to me like things are getting ready to kind of peak.
I think a lot of stuff is going to blow open, a lot of huge surprises. I think there's stuff that we don't have any inkling is going to come out.
That's why we have psychics.
But I think there's stuff that even psychics are going to go, oh my.
Yeah, we'll just go, yeah, we were feeling something. We just couldn't put our finger on what it was. Like prior to 9/11 in 2001, the December before, I was going, there's something really big that's going to happen, and we will all sit back and go, oh my God, that could have been me. It's just going to be a disaster. But I was like, it must be a natural disaster because we can feel things, but it's hard to like put your finger on, especially if it's something that you'd never expect. So I think for everybody here, if we go with that, it's helpful.
Yeah, and also I'll just suggest that whatever we think, it's probably much worse.
Yeah, I've seen that to be true too.
Whatever we think, it's much worse.
So if we're picking up on it, then it's big,
Mm-hmm.
right? And we'll have to wait till tomorrow night till I do the Psychic News Network. But what I've been picking up more is that I'm picking up a victory. I'm picking up that we emerge victorious from the metaphorical battle, right? Made proof through the night that our flag was still there. You know, that kind of that. We're gonna make it. So don't worry about those people with the crazy Trump flags. When you really look at it, look at what they're driving around in. They're not on their bicycles with a Trump flag on the back, right? You know what I mean? It's like, how big can
Oops.
an armored vehicle and, you know, hanging my big ass, you know, flag or flags, plural, to say Trump with looking like Rambo with his AR-15. That's not a confident, secure kind of person. Right?
Oh, yeah.
What do you think?
Incredible overcompensation.
Oh yeah, a little bit of overcompensation there. So we're gonna make
Now,
it.
I'm not suggesting to people that we just sit on our hands, all right?
No, we're not. Believe
If
me.
anything, the last few years have taught us that we cannot cede authority over and just assume that government is going to take care of it. And I would like to put my state forward as an example of this working in two ways. First off, I'm in a group that flipped our House seat. Someone who had it by divine right, like it had come down through his family, generation after generation after generation. And he got to the point where he would not let us in his office when we would come to visit. So we would hang out in the parking garage outside his office and meet there. And we flipped the seat and reported seeing tours being given in the Capitol. But more recently, there were some primaries to try to fill the next Senate seat out of New Jersey. And Bob Menendez is now finally saying he's not going to run as a Democrat, which is good because he's not going to get it. So the wife of the current governor declared she has no political experience, and a rep who you have seen, if you remember seeing the image of the guy in the suit leaning down and sweeping up debris in the Capitol on January 6th,
Yeah.
Andy Kim, and the big power machine in New Jersey was backing Tammy Murphy, and everybody voted for Andy Kim. So we got the candidate that matches the future, what we want, and isn't part of the political machinery. My point being, work as a unit. We can still do it, and they're still necessary.
Yeah.
And it's getting somewhere time and time and time again.
Yeah. Stuff is getting done. It definitely is. And when was that you were doing that?
Oh, the which one of these?
You were going to the office and you were hanging out.
Oh, early in Trump's term, first 2 years before. Yeah. So we flipped it during that. Yeah. Oh, it was great. I was in tears. It was amazing.
Yeah, that's just so exciting when we win. And we
all
are
those people gathering, and there are really varied people that did it. And the color of this particular political action group is purple, because although there's a very strong Democratic presence in it, it's not all Democrats.
It's people.
It's people. It's
people
that
want to live. You know what I mean? It's like, we're people that want to live. We want to have a good life. We want to make sure everyone's doing good. We want to keep everyone smiling and happy. And honestly, it's not about blue or red, right? That purple looks fabulous on you. That's the color of your book cover, isn't it?
Thank you. Yes, I am a purple person.
Yeah, I used to be. It's high vibe. Is there anything else that we need to tell people?
Be of good cheer. Maybe make a bingo card. Maybe that's one way to get through this. Maybe we should make a bingo card. We should collaborate on a bingo card
For our show, for this show?
for what's happening in the next few weeks.
Okay. All right. We can start. You can start it, and we'll add some items. So on the bingo card will be what Trump does and what.
Yeah, I have some ideas, and we'll just see who gets what, and yeah.
All right. Well, we'll talk about that tomorrow at PNN. How's that? People can't wait till the day we don't have to say the loser's name. Yeah.
Boy, me too.
We don't want this. We hated it. We would have loved to have skipped over it, and at the same time, we can't help but wake up. We have to, come together. All right. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
We should run some slides at the end of what we have to offer. You're welcome. It's always a pleasure. Always look forward to the show.
This is fun.
Oh, and by the way, I made a condition that Kathy Beale needs to get 2 astrology readings in order for us to come on again. So
I got one this week. I got one since your last mandate, so we only need one more.
I thought you got 2 from.
I had 3 that have already happened based on your last mandate, and now a new one has just come in, so we're already one ahead.
Oh, you're one up. Okay, I should say the same for me.
Yeah, you people.
I'm not coming on for PNN unless I get 3 readings.
Annette is real no nonsense, very efficient. Just
because we don't get paid, so that's how we get paid. Is we work. We get readings for you guys. We give readings. Okay, so in 2 weeks we have the 16th.
Oh, guess what? We'll have stuff to talk about.
Oh, and before
we
go, okay, you have to give us, if you have some time, just a brief, what should we expect personally, or any advice for the eclipse? Because people are talking about it like it's like the second coming. Maybe it will be.
Okay, first off, the eclipse map has been tweaked. All right, if you think you're in totality, it might be that you're not. And earthsky.com published a revised one today. So
how does that change? Well, what's changing?
Someone decided to actually put all of the information and charted out across the topography. And so based on where certain things are, it's not going to be as visible. Places that looked like there was going to be 100% totality, it's really not quite so much. So there's that. But more importantly, be really mindful of who you're with.
During the event?
Yeah. Huh. No fear mongering, whatever. This particular eclipse family is pushing all of us into our own agency and less concerned about, not standing there going, I'm waiting for my partner. We have to wait and see what he's gonna do.
What a waste of a good eclipse watching that would be.
Well, but I mean, just in general. So,
watch your thoughts.
And just sit. This is a really feral primal event, and really pay attention. Give yourself a huge span of time if you can afford it. Pay attention to how the air changes, and how the sounds change, and how the animals change.
They do.
Let yourself go still and physically and energetically experience it.
That's great advice. It's a good time to just kind of be very still.
If you've been near a solar eclipse before, they're just eerie. It's not, you can understand why earlier, cultures might have utterly freaked out about this.
Yeah, we're still freaking out. Some things never change. But there's nothing to be like, how people get all hyped out. Oh no, the world's gonna end, that and all that. There's nothing like that we need to be agitated about.
No.
No conspiracy.
And I want to just throw in, there's a huge hypification of astrological information that's been going
That's
on.
true. That's true.
No.
Yeah.
And let's just throw Mercury retrograde into this because we
I
haven't really
know.
even addressed that. And if you go to I've got a guide to Mercury retrograde at Ulm Times. If you stick my last name in, it'll come up. We can also find it from any of my forecasts on my site. I link to it. And just calm down. You know, it's not like the sky is falling. It's not the end of the world. It's not some weird thing. But we've got all these people who now have a little bit of knowledge and they have access to a phone, and they make videos and they post them on TikTok and they act like they know what they're doing. And some of them do, and some of them
it's like
don't.
I think human beings are wired for the sky is falling, but it's really not falling. It's just an eclipse.
No, it's just I mean, it's a cool one. We're not going to see one on our continent again like this. Well, not in this lifetime.
While we're alive. Oh, well, we should just have a big party. Is it next week? Next Monday?
Next Monday. Yeah, I'm going to be sitting in a field in an old apple orchard with a bunch of women.
Good. Party on.
One of whom has a bunch of sound bowls. I'm going to encourage her to not play them during the eclipse. Like, please stop.
Yeah, you might want to be by yourself. Okay, we're off the rails now. We're signing off. All right, thank you so much for joining us. Please give us some business. Help us to help you by using our talents to guide you through your life. Terry, I think, is going to show the slides, but I think we can exit. So, Terry, are you going to end the live stream? We're going to say goodbye. All right. Thank you, everybody. See you very soon.